If you're a man over 60, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself a difficult question. Are your daily habits quietly destroying your prostate? The truth is, countless men walk around daily making small choices that seem harmless, yet those very choices fuel years of restless nights, urgent trips to the bathroom, and growing discomfort they later regret. I'm Grace Miller, and over the past 2 decades, I've worked closely with men navigating the changes that come with aging. What I've seen is eye-opening. 2 men, both the same age, both in their late 70s, yet their lives look completely different. One spends his nights waking up every hour, exhausted, embarrassed, and frustrated. The other enjoys peaceful rest and freedom, rarely even thinking about his prostate. What separates them isn't luck, and it isn't genetics. It's the little habits built day after day. You see, prostate problems don't appear out of thin air. They're shaped slowly, quietly, by what you eat, how you move, how you handle stress, and even how you think about your health. In fact, researchers from major universities have found that lifestyle plays as big a role in prostate health as age itself. Some men assume decline is inevitable, but that's far from the truth. So here's the question. Are you accidentally nurturing the very habits that make your prostate weaker? Or are you giving it the care it deserves? In this video, I'm going to reveal the 10 most dangerous daily habits that may be silently enlarging your prostate and how changing them could transform the way you age. Because protecting your prostate isn't just about comfort, it's about preserving freedom, dignity, and vitality. Let's begin with habit number 10, drinking too little water. It may sound harmless, even logical. Many older men purposely cut back on water, hoping it will reduce those frustrating nighttime trips to the bathroom. But the body doesn't work that way. In reality, dehydration makes urine far more concentrated and acidic, irritating the bladder and the prostate, which sits just below it. Instead of protecting you, this habit quietly fuels inflammation and discomfort. I once spoke with Mr. James, a retired teacher who admitted he had trained himself to avoid water after dinner. At first it helped, but he noticed more burning, urgency, and even recurrent infections over time. What felt like a smart adjustment created the perfect environment for bacteria and irritation. His story isn't unusual. It's a trap many men fall into. Science confirms this. Studies on urinary health show that consistent hydration dilutes toxins, reduces irritation, and lowers the chance of chronic inflammation. And here's something few realize. Common medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes often increase dehydration, which means men over 60 are especially vulnerable. The solution is simple yet powerful. Sip water steadily throughout the day instead of guzzling it all at once. Aim for clear or very light yellow urine, your body's natural signal that you're hydrated. Don't be afraid of water. It's not your enemy. On the contrary, it's one of the strongest allies your prostate has in maintaining its health. Habit number 9, sitting for hours without moving. After retirement, it's natural to enjoy the comfort of a favorite chair, whether watching television, reading the newspaper, or scrolling through a phone. But too much sitting is far more dangerous to the prostate than most men realize. When you remain in one position, especially seated, it creates constant pressure in the pelvic region. That pressure reduces blood flow to the prostate, encourages inflammation, and weakens the muscles that support healthy urination. Think about it this way. Your pelvic floor muscles are like the unseen gears of a machine. If they sit idle for too long, they stiffen and weaken. Over time, this makes it harder to empty the bladder. Leftover urine lingers, irritating the prostate and creating a cycle of swelling and discomfort. Science backs this up. Research has found that men who sit more than 6 hours a day have a significantly higher risk of prostate-related issues compared to those who move regularly. Even small movements can make a difference. The good news, You don't need a gym membership or hours of exercise to break this habit. Standing up every 30 minutes and walking for a few minutes is enough to restore circulation. Stretch your legs, refill your glass of water, or take a short stroll around the house. These micro movements relieve pressure on the prostate and keep your pelvic muscles engaged. Small, consistent action is far more protective than long stretches of stillness. Habit number 8, excess caffeine. For many men, the day doesn't begin without that strong cup of coffee. A little caffeine isn't the problem. It's when multiple cups pile up throughout the day that your prostate starts to feel the strain. Caffeine is a natural diuretic that pushes your body to produce more urine. For an already sensitive bladder and prostate, this spells trouble. Here's what happens. Caffeine irritates the bladder lining, forcing muscles to contract more often. This leads to urgency, frequent bathroom trips, and sometimes even leakage. To make matters worse, caffeine tightens the muscles at the bladder neck, making it harder to empty fully. That leftover urine presses against the prostate, creating more irritation and swelling. It's like adding extra weight to a system already under stress. Take the case of Mr. Davis, a 65-year-old accountant. He drank 3 or 4 cups of coffee daily to stay sharp. Yet he found himself constantly interrupted by urgent bathroom visits during meetings. Once he replaced his afternoon coffees with herbal teas such as chamomile or rooibos, his nights became calmer and his bladder steadier. The key is moderation. One morning cup usually isn't harmful, but turning caffeine into an all-day crutch quietly chips away at prostate comfort. Experiment by swapping out that second or third cup for a caffeine-free alternative. Your bladder, sleep, and prostate will all thank you for the relief. Habit number 7, eating overly spicy and processed foods. Flavor is part of life. An occasional spicy dish isn't the enemy. But when fiery meals or packaged snacks become daily staples, your prostate pays the price. Pungent ingredients like hot peppers or heavy black pepper can irritate delicate tissues and trigger low-grade inflammation throughout the body, including in the prostate. The irritation might not show up right away, but it silently contributes to swelling and discomfort over months and years. Processed foods are an even greater concern. Cold cuts, frozen dinners, instant noodles, and chips contain preservatives, sodium, and unhealthy fats. Excess salt makes the body retain fluid, putting more pressure on the bladder and prostate. Meanwhile, bad fats and additives disrupt hormonal balance, including testosterone levels that directly influence prostate size. Consider the example of Mr. Howard, a 72-year-old grandfather who loved convenience foods. After years of microwave meals and salty snacks, he noticed worsening urinary urgency. His symptoms eased within months when he switched to a simpler diet: fresh vegetables, grilled fish, and fruits. The difference wasn't medication, it was food. Science echoes this. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and omega-3 fats are linked to reduced inflammation and better urinary health. It doesn't mean giving up flavor, it means choosing balance. Try Mediterranean-inspired meals or add turmeric, ginger, and fresh herbs for taste without the hidden harm. Your prostate thrives when your meals fuel healing rather than irritation. Habit number 6, holding in your urine for too long. We've all been guilty of telling ourselves to wait just a bit longer because we're busy, in traffic, or don't want to interrupt what we're doing. But when this becomes a regular pattern, the consequences for your prostate can be severe. When the bladder fills and you refuse to empty it, pressure builds downward onto the prostate, which sits just beneath. Over time, this constant stress irritates the tissue and encourages swelling. The bladder also stretches beyond its comfort zone, weakening the muscles responsible for efficient emptying. The result: stagnant urine left behind, urine that becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and infection. Older men are especially vulnerable. As the bladder muscles weaken with age, it becomes harder to push urine out completely. Combine that with a habit of holding it in, and you create the perfect storm for irritation, infections, and eventual enlargement of the prostate. One gentleman I worked with, a retired bus driver, admitted he had trained himself to ignore the urge to urinate during long routes. By his late 60s, he faced recurring bladder infections and constant urgency. It wasn't age alone, decades of ignoring his body's signals. The fix is straightforward. Respect your body's cues. When you feel the urge, act on it. Emptying your bladder promptly is one of the simplest yet strongest defenses you have to protect your prostate. Habit number 5, smoking, or even spending time around smokers. Most men already know cigarettes damage the lungs and heart, but few realize how directly they harm the prostate. The chemicals in tobacco constrict blood vessels, reducing circulation to delicate tissues. Without healthy blood flow, the prostate struggles to repair itself, leaving it vulnerable to chronic inflammation and enlargement. But that's not all. Smoking also increases oxidative stress, the buildup of harmful molecules that damage cells. Over time, this weakens your body's natural defense systems, making the prostate more susceptible to irritation and even raising the risk of prostate cancer. What's even more concerning is that secondhand smoke can create similar effects. Sitting in smoke-filled rooms or spending time with a frequent smoker exposes your body to many of the same toxins. Consider the case of Mr. Tom, a 68-year-old grandfather who had quit smoking years ago but still spent evenings playing cards with friends who smoked heavily. He thought he was safe, yet his urinary symptoms grew worse until he cut down on exposure. Once he limited those smoky gatherings, his body began to recover and his symptoms eased. The encouraging part is how quickly benefits appear after quitting. Within weeks of stopping tobacco, circulation improves and inflammation begins to subside. Whether it's you or those around you, keeping smoke out of your life is one of the most powerful choices you can make for your prostate's long-term health. Habit number 4, avoiding doctor visits. Too many men make the mistake of waiting until symptoms become unbearable before seeing a physician. The problem is that prostate enlargement often develops silently. There may be no pain, urgency, or obvious warning signs in the early stages. The condition is usually more advanced and harder to manage when discomfort appears. Routine checkups are not about fear, they're about prevention. A quick visit can reveal changes long before they spiral into serious problems. Exams like the PSA blood test or a simple digital rectal exam may feel uncomfortable, but they are fast, safe, and incredibly effective at catching early warning signs. When detected early, lifestyle adjustments or mild treatments are often enough, sparing you from surgery or lifelong medication. Take Mr. John, a 70-year-old retired engineer. He went for his annual check despite feeling fine. Tests revealed early prostate enlargement. With simple changes to his diet, stress levels, and activity, he avoided complications that might have robbed him of sleep and comfort later on. His story highlights a truth many men overlook. The earlier you act, the more options you have. Seeing your doctor once a year is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's a proactive step to protect not only your prostate, but your overall freedom and vitality as you age. Prevention truly is the most potent treatment. Habit number 3, eating too much red meat. For many men, a hearty steak or a plate of grilled sausages feels like tradition. But when red meat, mainly processed varieties like bacon, cold cuts, or hot dogs, becomes a daily habit, it quietly fuels inflammation throughout the body, including in the prostate. Saturated fats and preservatives interfere with hormonal balance and raise oxidative stress, 2 key drivers of prostate enlargement. Digestion is another factor. As men age, the body processes heavy proteins more slowly. Red meat lingers in the system, causing sluggish digestion, weight gain, and increased pelvic pressure. All of these places added strain on the bladder and prostate. It isn't about eliminating meat, it's about moderation. Science offers strong evidence here. Research from Harvard has shown that men who consume high levels of processed meat face a significantly higher risk of prostate problems. In contrast, diets rich in fish, poultry, beans, and plant proteins are linked to lower inflammation and healthier hormone levels. Take the example of Carlos, a 66-year-old who proudly grilled beef nearly every night. When his doctor advised cutting back, he swapped 2 weekly dinners for lentil soup, salmon, or chicken stir-fry. Within months, he noticed lighter digestion and fewer nighttime bathroom trips. Small dietary shifts can deliver significant relief. Aim for red meat once or twice a week, and fill the rest of your plate with lean proteins and fiber-rich foods that help your body and your prostate function at its best. Habit number 2, carrying excess belly fat. Many men think of weight around the midsection as just a cosmetic issue, but it's far more than that. Belly fat is biologically active, particularly the deep visceral fat surrounding your organs. It releases inflammatory chemicals that travel through your bloodstream, irritating tissues throughout the body, including your prostate. This constant low-grade inflammation fuels swelling and increases urinary problems. Excess abdominal fat also disrupts hormonal balance. Studies show it reduces testosterone while increasing estrogen-like activity, both of which directly influence the size of the prostate. To make matters worse, a large waistline physically presses on the bladder and pelvic organs, creating even more pressure and urgency. Consider the story of David, a 64-year-old retiree. He'd gained about 15 pounds after slowing down his activity. His waistline grew, and so did his nighttime bathroom trips. When his doctor encouraged him to walk daily and trim portion sizes, he lost just 5 kilos over a few months. That small change made a huge difference. His symptoms eased, and his energy returned. The solution isn't extreme dieting. It's steady, realistic adjustments, smaller portions, fewer sugary drinks, and daily movement like walking or cycling. Experts recommend keeping a waistline under 100 centimeters to reduce risk. Every kilogram lost lessens the burden on your prostate and helps restore hormonal balance. Protecting your midsection is one of the most reliable ways to protect your prostate. Habit number 1, not managing stress. Of all the silent enemies of your prostate, this one often goes unnoticed. Stress doesn't just affect your mind, it directly reshapes your body's chemistry. When you live under constant tension, your body produces high cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone. Over time, cortisol fuels inflammation, weakens immunity, and disrupts hormones like testosterone, all of which directly impact prostate health. Stress also tightens the pelvic muscles and restricts blood flow around the bladder and prostate. This can worsen urinary urgency and frequency, creating a cycle of frustration that feeds back into more stress. It's a hidden loop that many men over 60 find themselves trapped in. I recall speaking with Robert, a retired bus driver with decades of financial worry and family responsibility. His stress was constant, and so were his urinary problems. When he finally began practicing deep breathing, light stretching, and short daily walks, he noticed calmer moods and fewer nighttime bathroom trips. His prostate responded to the relief his mind finally allowed. Managing stress doesn't require complicated programs. 10 minutes of quiet breathing, laughter with friends, quality sleep, or simply spending time outdoors can reduce cortisol dramatically. These small, intentional habits heal the body from the inside out. Reducing stress is more than comfort. It's one of the most powerful tools to protect your prostate and reclaim vitality. Now that you've discovered the 10 habits that silently enlarge your prostate, the real question is, Which one will you change first? Remember, it's not about perfection or overhauling your life overnight. It's about steady, meaningful steps. Drinking more water, standing up more often, cutting back on caffeine, or finding healthier ways to manage stress. Each small change builds momentum. Together, they can transform how you age. Your prostate health isn't a matter of fate. It's shaped by the daily choices you make. Protecting it means protecting your sleep, your confidence, and your independence. And the best part, it's never too late to begin. So I'd love to hear from you. Which habits surprised you the most? And what's one step you'll start this week? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more science-backed health insights, and share this with a friend or loved one who might benefit. Your journey starts today.